Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley here with you. It is a Friday. I hope you enjoyed the conversation I had with Representative Julie Kelly on Wednesday about those health care bills. If you didn't see it, go back and take a look. We passed out all 15 of those bills on Wednesday, and they're now headed to the Senate. I'm sure there's going to be some work done on them there. I won't go into the whole detail, but these are very, 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 very important. All my adult life, I've heard the escalating problems of healthcare in the state of Michigan and in the nation, and I think that's important. I was going to bring this up later, but I realize it makes sense to bring up here too, since we're talking about those healthcare bills and healthcare in Michigan. Again, go back and watch Rep. Kelly. She's great, and I think explains the gist of those 15 bills. But I want to tip of the hat and a shout out to my senator, Senator Kurt Vanderwall. He is the Senate Chair of Health Policy, and he has been pushing for certificate of need. Now, the certificate of need is basically a system they have in place to manage beds, hospital beds, and you have to apply. And let's say a hospital wants to increase its mental health department. Well, they say, no, you don't. You got enough beds. You don't need any more. Or you've got to be able to fill, 10 beds. Well, right now we can only fill 5. But as we get this thing up and running, we could fill 10 or 20. No, you don't. We can't give you those beds. So now the program never gets off the ground, right? So I think this is important. Senator Vanderwall is attempting to get bills through that would allow some changes in our state laws. And this was interesting what he said in testimony. More than 40% of the U.S. population lives in states with no certificate of need requirements. He compared our neighboring Midwest states. Illinois requires a certificate of need for 13 services, Indiana for 1, Ohio for 1, while Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin have no certificate of need requirements for the amount of bed space in hospitals, clinics, and so on. Michigan, on the other hand, has 18 areas where you need a certificate of need. So this is an area that Michigan really needs to fix if we want to ease our healthcare issues, especially our mental health issues and care for those people. Because right now, really the number one spot for folks with mental illness, county jails, and that's wrong too. So a lot going on in the state of Michigan. Let's see here. Also some early things that have happened. Oh, and I want to mention this too. There's so much to talk about. I am taking next week off. I'm going to spend some time with my wife. It's our break. I'm going to be doing some things in district and working, but I am going to take a few days off. Then we've got the Easter weekend coming up, which is Friday. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take the week off. I'll be honest with you, I need a break. Not just from this, but from all of this. It's been a busy time. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't think we do crap, but we work hard. I know I do. So I'm going to take some time to be with my wife because, as I just told somebody else, she is my number one constituent. So I got to make sure I take care of her. Legislation is out, been introduced to limit the gag orders, not allow them. What we've seen with the governor and Director Gordon and Director Gray, and then the assistant. One of the things I did was I asked the Office of the Auditor General, nonpartisan. They look at all things government, if they get asked, and I'm asking them to look at the executive branch's use of non-disclosure agreements, and that is something that they'll look back at. And so it'll be interesting to see. Could come back, and I have no idea what they're going to find, but this is a nonpartisan, independent look, and I think that takes the Republican and it takes the Democrat out of it and just say, hey, Auditor General, how did the executive branch use these, and how have previous executive branches used these? So it might take a little while to get that report back, but I think it will be interesting to see if our governor abused this system. Personally, I think she did, but the Auditor General will let us know, and I will let you know when that report comes in. I'm going to save this last bit for last because it made me laugh out loud. Lots of things to hit here, especially if this is going to be my last report for a week. I'll be back the Monday after Easter. So, Secretary of State Benson, who remember wrote the book on elections, she did write a book about elections, was in Washington testifying about election stuff, and she wants the federal government to pass the For People Act. Now, anything coming out of Washington right now with elections stinks. It's a skunk. Don't listen. It's terrible. It's H.R. 1 or whatever the heck it is. They want to federalize elections. We're 50 states, right? States' rights. And if we attempt to if the federal government attempts to take over elections, no, thank you. So our Secretary of State is full of crapola on this one. She sees the national bill as creating a new federal floor on voting reform that states can build off of. I just say it is a massive federal takeover if they try to set up too many rules on how we vote. Now, one of the things that's been said is that we're passing voter suppression bills. And again, I call a BS on that. Some bills we just passed out of the House and sending to the Senate were from the Auditor General's office from a year prior to COVID and the 2020 election, but yet people they're just trying to suppress the vote. No, we're not. We're trying to make sure that our system is safe and eliminate as many flaws as we can. So the Senate passed out, I think it's like 35 election reform bills. I don't know how many will actually make it, but I'm going to run through some of these here because I want you to know they're not voter suppression. But Senator Ruth Johnson, the former Secretary of State, is chair of this committee. They're going to tighten up some things. What are some of the bills here? One would strip the qualified voter fund of dead people who have moved out, and people who have moved out of state. That's a common thing. The Democrats in this article say they view these bills as part of voter suppression. And again, BS. Senator Erica Geis of Taylor went as far to say the GOP bills put lipstick on Jim Crow. I'm offended by that. Why is everything that gets done thought to be racist? It isn't. We're trying to make sure these elections are fair and just. But I'm offended, Senator. I am. What's it matter, right? Doesn't matter. Another absentee voter ballot drop boxes must be approved by the Secretary of State and the Board of Canvassers, and also a local clerk or deputy clerk are the only ones who can retrieve the ballots from the boxes in a chain of custody issue. County clerks would need to tell the Secretary of State of deaths in their county so that the deceased names could be flagged from the qualified voter rolls. Again, these are proposed bills. Petitions. The Board of Canvassers would need to finish its review on whether the initiative had necessary number of signatures within 100 days of receiving the petition. The Stand Up Michigan toss out of the 1945 law still sits there on the Secretary of State's desk. The Secretary of State would need to work through multi-state programs every year to verify that voters on the qualified list still live in the state of Michigan. Only the Secretary of State, a designated voter registration agency, or local clerk can have access to the QVF. Local clerks could begin pre-processing absentee ballots at between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the Monday before the election. This would make last year's one-time thing legal. And that, with more mail-in ballots, that makes sense. Voters would need to present a photo ID when submitting an absentee ballot application under another law. Now, this is one where you can't have expect voter ID because certain people can't get them. Well, if you're a legal resident of this country, you can get them, and you can get a state ID free of charge. So this is another one of those things where I don't understand why that's racist. If somebody could explain it to me, or at least their reasoning why, doesn't mean it's true. You can get you go to the Secretary of State's office and you get a state ID. But for some reason, that has a racial component to it. I don't understand it. City and townships would be banned from providing prepaid postage on any absentee voter ballot under another bill. State legislature would have 90 days to allocate any federal money sent to the states for election-related purposes, or the money would need to be sent back. That was, remember, Secretary of State Benson used like $7 million to send out all these applications. The list goes on and on. Let's see here, I think, election challengers would need to go through an approved training program of at least 3 days before any election. I think that makes a ton of sense. Our poll workers, all of those folks need better training. Not that they're getting bad training now, but it should be more extensive. Anything else here? There's a whole bunch of them. Just see here. Well, this one's interesting. I don't know how easy this would be, but the full text of a ballot proposal, as opposed to the 100-word summary, must appear in a ballot. Now, that could be a little bit of trouble, right? But that would, right now, you read a ballot proposal and it's 100 words, you think, oh, that sounds pretty good. But there's 3,000 other words, maybe, that really explain it better, that you don't know anything about. Let's see here. I got all my notes here. Yeah, I think we're good. And I want to end with this note here. And line 5, the Energy Committee under Chair Joe Bellino, Joe Babe, the propane industry came in and said, you know what, if line 5 shuts down, there will be spikes. Safety of transporting propane by way of rail or truck would go up. All kinds of problems. One director of supply for a company went on to say that the time frame for the propane plan to have it all in place by May, when the line's supposed to shut down, is basically ridiculous. In my opinion, it would involve acquiring the trucks and trains needed to move propane that wouldn't be flowing in a shuttered line 5. I don't think we're going to be ready by May, she said, laughing. A takeaway from another presentation was there that the request of the Michigan Propane Gas Association was that while he believes the industry could provide the propane needs for Michiganders without a Line 5, doing so without a pipeline means the costs would increase and significant additional periods of price volatility and price uncertainty would follow. And recently, Ohio and Louisiana have filed a brief in federal court to stop the governor's wishes of stopping Line 5. So don't go away. More on that coming up. All right, I'm going a little long here. Again, I just want to remind you, I'm going to take next week off. I need to recharge and just go. Now, if something terrible happens, which God forbid it does, I'd come on and give you my thoughts. But especially with Friday being the holiday weekend, the Easter weekend, we'll take that off. People will be visiting and preparing. I'm going to take a couple days early in the week here to be with my wife. So I'm going to take next week off. All right. So I'm going to leave you with this one. Sometimes the comments I get on Facebook have me LOL. So yesterday, the governor, once again, some of the comments I get are, "What are you doing about it, you bunch of lazy louts?" And we're doing everything we can legally. We really are. I know that some people think you should be doing this or you're doing that or do this and do that, but we really can't. I know, I'll just be honest, I always am. I try to be anyway. The only thing that we could probably do is try to impeach the governor. But I know we won't have the votes in the Senate to do it. So why put the state through more of this, all right? We've already got people doing this. It would be a wasted effort. But we try to send bills. The governor vetoed another bill that would try to limit her power. And so we had a little press conference yesterday, and I appeared on camera, and I had my mask. And I'm going to read this comment, and then I'll tell you my reaction. I said, "Just watched you speaking on TV. Someone should show you how to correctly wear a mask, Jack. It isn't hard." So here's my thought. I left the mask on. I wear my mask, okay? But I left my mask on because I thought if I take it off, some idiot is going to bitch at me because I don't wear a mask. So I left the thing on, and I've had it on all day. I've been breathing in it. We're outside, the wind's blowing, and I'm talking, so it kind of does this, and it's out like this. So yeah, it wasn't on there just right, but I'm talking, and I get just watch you speaking. Someone should show you how to wear the mask correctly. Screw you. Oh my gosh, people are something else, aren't they? Isn't that crazy? I wear the mask so I don't get people squawking at me, and I get this knuckle nut who's mad at me because I'm not wearing it right, but doesn't stop to think why it might be disheveled, you know? So right there to you. That's all I got to say. All right. I'm going to leave you with that because I tell you what, as a Miranda Lambert song says, it takes all kinds of kinds. I'm out of here. I'm going to take a week off. We'll see you after Easter. I wish you a great holiday moving it forward. I will continue to pray for this great state of Michigan. I hope you keep praying for me and the legislature. All right? We're going to do the best we can for you. We are doing the best we can for you. Take care.